Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
Horrible series. Horrible homestand. Wow. Oh, we're doing this again, aren't we? It's tragic. I'm trying to keep myself calm. I'm trying not to explode. But the Phillies lose 2 of 3 to the stinking Marlins. Pache in extra innings. How? How do we let that happen? How do we have the game on the line with this guy at the plate? He sucks. Craig Kimbrell. Did anyone think that was going to work out? I actually didn't hate bringing in Alvarado for a second inning. I didn't hate it. You can make the argument, though, that it's dumb, and I won't be upset if you personally despised it, but knowing, and we saw it, that Craig Kimbrell is scary, and knowing that the bullpen has failed you more times than not, keeping someone like Jose in the game who's been sensational, I didn't have a problem with it. It ended up not working out. You know what? It is what it is sometimes. But I know a lot of guys fail for you this year out of the pen, so I really didn't despise it. But it didn't work. At the end of the day, Rob Thompson's decisions have been terrible and haven't worked more than they have. So just following the track record, Rob has been out of touch. He hasn't pushed the buttons. You didn't get the hits you needed offensively from the players, though. The first inning. Okay, so you lose game 2. I didn't get an opportunity to speak about it yet. But Aaron Nola hits a wall. Surprise, surprise. Bad base running. Bryson Stott kills a potential nice inning and a rally. You could feel the deflation in the ballpark the moment he gets out over at first base for taking too big of a, not a lead, but rounding the base a little too big. That's all this team has done to this point, making bad, brutal base running mistakes. I think Rob needs to get a grasp on it. The difficult part is, when you look at some of the previous problems we've had, it was Nick Castellanos, it was Kyle Schwarber, it was Brandon Marsh. And because Rob didn't bench anybody to that point, it's hard to look at one of the hottest hitters in Bryson Stott and say, you're the guy. There were no running mistakes in the 3-2 loss in extra innings, but we'll see how long that continues for. So far, every series, it's popped up. So I wouldn't be shocked if it happens again. But at what point does Rob think, I need to do something about it? Because he's definitely spoken to the team already. He's clearly told the clubhouse that this is unacceptable, but that didn't reflect on the field at all in this series. That costed you a game. The Phillies were rolling. And while Connor Brogdon allowed a home run to make it 5-3 when the score was 4-3, there's still a part of this where it's like, okay, you failed with the chance to have a storm. It could have been a big inning. 7, 8 runs, 6 runs. It could have been a punch in the jaw, which that deflation feeling, I think, bled into the Connor Brogdon outing. There's a momentum swing that happens. You were there, you were pushing. And then all of a sudden, it just evaporates. And then now it's a different swag walking to the mound. It's a different approach by everybody in the field. It's a different body language. And it carries. It does. So I don't think it plays out the same exact way. If the Phillies were going to punch a little harder, and instead of 4-3 being down, if it's 4-4, if it's 5-4 Phillies, 6-4 Phillies. Oh, man. Just crazy. Now, we talked about this on the air today, and social media is having fun with it, running with it, because on the 97.5 The Fanatic Twitter account, we asked the people, would you have benched Bryson Stott if you were Rob Thompson, because he was the last one to do the poor base running, and it's like, how the hell could you possibly do this? You're stupid. You don't know anything. And it's like, all right, social media will do what it does, but I think it's very valid to think at some point Rob Thompson looks at this team. If it happens again, at what point do you? If not now, when? And the reason why we picked Bryson Stott is, one, he was the latest to do it, and number two, he is good. I'm aware how talented Bryson Stott is right now. I saw the big RBI. I see his value on the base paths, getting a single, stealing second, getting to third base. He's awesome. He's phenomenal right now. That's the point. You don't play Pache. You don't play some of these other players. Who cares? That's the statement it takes. That's the smack in the face. That's the look in the mirror moment. It's going so wrong that Rob decided to make an example of a kid who's playing fantastic ball. If it happens again, what does he do? Is it just you hope and pray that it gets fixed? Every series, Texas, New York, Cincinnati, Miami, 4 straight series. Your record's 4-8 right now. If 2 of those games flip the other way, it's too early to look in the standings, but it's not obnoxious to wonder when. There's a lot more to get into than just this, but I'm passionate about this because it's odd to me that Charlie Manuel, a legend, a guy in this city that will go down as one of the greatest, and he is. He'll never have to buy anything in town ever again, and he shouldn't. He is praised for having the balls to look at Jimmy Rollins and say, yo, dude, sit your ass down. Sit your ass down. And Jimmy Rollins and his pedigree, all due respect to Bryson Stott, is 8,000 times more impressive than Bryson Stott's career to this point. I love Stotty, man. I'm a huge fan. You want to lead him off against certain pitchers? I'm cool with it. He can bat anywhere. You want to do whatever, but I'm in the 7th hole, 8th hole, flip the lineup over at the back end, however you want to handle things. He's been extremely impressive in the box. I'm one of his biggest fans. It's not about Bryson Stott. It's about the collective unit and the collective amount of times as a baseball team that you're not focusing on the details. And if you're not focusing on the details, I'll make you. The way you do that is you look at your better players and you make them the example. Like I said, though, the problem is Rob cornered himself because the veterans, Nick and Kyle, they've been involved in these and he didn't do anything about it. But we'll see. What will it take? One more time? How many times? It's a crazy question. I guess. I don't know. But anyway, Nola, you see the cycle happens. A triple, a double. Things get lost for him. And then guys like Bellotti get used so damn much already because your starting pitcher can't go deep into games. I mean, I'm sitting here doing high fives with everybody because Zach Wheeler was able to go 6. I shouldn't be that pumped up about going 6. Now, my chat on the computer is frozen. It looks like on the phone it's moving. But I thought it was weird I wasn't seeing anybody on the side in the chat roll through. But okay, I just wanted to verify that we're in action. It was my first time actually looking at the screen, and I'm like, dude, I just screamed for 10 minutes. Are you telling me nobody heard that? Well, I'm glad. I'm glad y'all heard that. Because I'm aggravated with this baseball team. Wheeler battled in the 1 inning. Bases loaded, a few walks, and one of the best hitters in baseball at the plate gets a fly out to center. He knows how to face adversity. Aaron Nola doesn't. That's where he struggles. So he got squeezed. Do something about it. Just like Zach Wheeler lost it for a second. Put guys on. A dangerous weapon with the bat in his hands. Do something about it. He did. And then, by the way, Rob goes, go ahead. And he has an excellent inning, a nice, easy inning after that. Aaron Nola doesn't really know how to go through those times throughout a baseball game. When it gets to the parts where he has to grind and when he has to handle that adversity, he flops. Listen to some of these numbers, by the way. It seems like we always get caught on some Jason Stark stats, but that's why he's one of the greatest ever. All right, there was a time where 1 out of every 4 pitches for Aaron Nola, you got some good whiffs going. Right now, it's 1 out of every 10. What? When he's out of the stretch, the opponent's batting average is 60 points higher, slugging 115 higher. The fastball's getting flat. There's no bite to the curveball. And I heard Ricky Bell and I heard Ben Davis on the postgame show, discussing how the team attacks spring training. And during one of his last starts in spring, the pitch count was getting to 40. 40! Well, I'm not surprised that some of these guys look like this if that's the case. But I'm kind of conflicted because at this point, he's got a couple starts under his belt and his ERA's 7. I can't just keep going back to their arms aren't ready. I don't care. You're 12 games in. You're 4-8. These games matter. There was maybe a time in my life that I would look more into the whole idea of it being early. Okay? These games count. I'm approaching it like that. So in July, do they mean any differently? Not right now. No, they don't. Not right now. I don't even know what that means. That was a stupid sentence to say. It's clear. The standings are what they are right now. I know last year we were looking up all year long, and we hated the baseball team, rightfully so, all year long, until they proved something to us. I don't want to go through every baseball season hating the team for 70% of the season. It was a little bit of time after Joe was fired. It got bad again during September, and we thought, here we go again. They just, by the skin of their teeth, made it in, and we liked them again. I don't want that to be my baseball season. I don't want to roll my eyes and punch myself in the thigh because I'm watching guys get picked off over at first, or they round second base, or they run through Dusty Wathan. Here's Dusty, hands up. No. Up here's Kyle Schwarber thinking he's Usain Bolt. Here's Nick Castellanos following him and sliding like a bum at home plate. I don't want that. So sorry if I'm going overboard. I don't think I am. I think I'm going bored. Not overboard. Bored. Right where I should be. Soto did his thing. Pache didn't. When is that going to be over? Seriously. That's garbage baseball. There's not much the kid can do. He's not good. So it's similar to the Cody Clemens thing. To a point, it's not Cody Clemens' fault. I got to look at, well, one, I love Dave Dombrowski, and he does a lot of things great. The Pache move didn't really tickle my fancy from the rip. Anyway, this is where Rob isn't really feeling the game right now. You can't be playing bums. You play bums, you go here. This is where you go. You go right here in this spot. Losing 2 of 3 to the Miami Marlins. There's more to it, though. Your players who are good are also playing like bums. So the bums are playing like bums, and then JT Realmuto is duplicating last year's first half of the season. Wake up! Schwarber, I have a little longer of a leash for him because I know for a fact that Kyle Schwarber is going to crush bombs for this team. I've seen it enough. With JT, that last July and on, that was unreal, and that was a lot of fun, but there's not enough for me to say that's definitely going to happen. I definitely know what Kyle Schwarber is going to do. I don't know what JT Realmuto is going to do. He's a better baseball player than what he's showing. I know he can hit the ball, but leading the league in OPS and where he is now, there's a middle ground here. And I haven't seen him lead the league in OPS from a certain point on like I did last season as aggressively as he did a lot. I've seen Kyle Schwarber a lot. We know he can tear the cover off the ball. It'll happen. We'll get to June. We'll get that. It doesn't mean I'm accepting this. It's just easier for me to swallow the tough pill with Kyle than most. Because there's just something true about him being the weapon that he is. But there's a lot of blame to go on a lot of people. And it's starting to really irritate me. Really irritate me. I was sort of walking through my head a little bit because sometimes I do this prematurely. What I mean is, when the game's going on, I think about what I'm going to talk about. Well, this happened, that happened. Okay, how can I spin that? Or how can I reflect my opinions on that? And, where am I going to take this all? Let's put it all in the hopper and start the process. Well, let's go. It's the 6th inning. Well, I remember what happened in the 3rd. I thought that was crucial. I jot that down. Oh, yeah, that 4th inning, or Nola got squeezed in the 5th inning, or whatever it is, right? I'm just throwing things out there. But that's kind of how my brain processes the game. I'm thinking about work as it's going on. So, I thought, when they went up 2-1, hey, okay, if they win this thing, I didn't like the vibe of the game. Could have scored early, didn't. Let things slip, had guys on, ugh. But if they won in a way that was blah, they at least won the series. So you look at Cincinnati, you look at Miami, and it kind of is what it is, but the name of the game is to take 2 of 3. And looking at that Cincinnati series, you lost 6-4, you won 3-2, you won 5-2. That's in reverse order. You started out in Miami with a beatdown of 15-3. What happened to this offense? Everyone's getting hits, multi-hits, 20-plus hits, home runs galore, balls flying everywhere. And then you just lose it. Not that you're going to consistently put up 15. And you lost power bats in Reese and Hall. We got an update on Hall. Looks like they're looking at a 2-month thing. Although the thumb is always hard to predict because you think you're going to be able to pick up the bat, and it's different. It's a different feeling. And apparently Bryce Harper, Rob said that he could be playing games, minor league games, getting legit at-bats like now. That's how far his progress has come. So it's just amazing to think about. But there's still too much here. Trey Turner missed a home run by a half an inch. But if Schwarber and JT were effective right now. There's too much here to be losing to the Miami Marlins in a home series. That's all. I guess that's the moral of the story here. That's my main point. Took me a while to get there. But even with the injuries, there's too much on this team to be losing to that squad at home. 3-3? Oh, yeah, that's great. Oh, I'm having a blast. Oh, man. All right. Calls. Anytime hotline. Let's go to the phones. Let's do it.
Hey, bros. It's your friendly neighborhood Nola Stan. That was rough. To say that it was very frustrating. The roller coaster of emotions, It started with, he was dominant and he was freaking unbelievable and he lit up the hanging curveball home run. I'm talking about Nola. He let up the hanging curveball home run and then he went dominant again and then he lost gas and then that call by the ump. Look, Aaron Nola, in my full-hearted opinion, I believe Aaron Nola is the ace. He's that guy. He's a veteran. He should be able to work through that call. But I just can't help to think where we would be if we got that call. But hey, it happens. It's the part of the game. I'm not making excuses for Aaron Nola. I wholeheartedly believe he hit a wall, and he just, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like we're going to see that a little bit more until, he gets past that wall. Hopefully he will.
I don't know if he ever has, though. What year is this for Aaron Nola? Now, he's not a bum. He's not pitching well right now, but you say he's an ace. He's that guy. I don't know. This happens too much for me to go out and say that. Now, last year was phenomenal, and he has fantastic games. He's a good pitcher. He's a very good pitcher. But there's that separate. This is why it's always just nuts. Because when he shines, he has a stuff. But he has too much of this to put him in that category legitimately more intensely. He's missing something that elevates him to the guys that are stars more consistently. So when he folds and he flops and we're getting this version, you get the pushback of, the opposite side of Aaron Nola. He's a very controversial player. The Ben Simmons times, before he became the biggest loser in sports history. You had the people that supported him and said, look at his defense, look at his passing, look at the way he gets his team open looks. And during the time of his good play, there was legitimacy to that. But then when there was a game where he wouldn't shoot and it cost him, the guys who hated him and despised him said he sucks, he's the worst, he's pathetic. It's like, well, you're devaluing what he does well, but yes, there is clearly an issue that he needs to work on to be a better basketball player, and until he does, that's going to limit him. Aaron Nola, same thing. There's the lovers, the supporters, someone like you who feels like he is that ace, he's that guy. And he is a very talented player. But when he does this, there are the people who hate him and despise him and think he's not worth that money and would then claim that he's not good enough. But there's too heavy in that direction, too. It's controversial. It's as simple as this, though. It's not cutting it. And this team isn't going anywhere if he's not good. The team was doing a lot of damage last year. Wheeler and Nola carried a good portion of this team. There were a lot of variables. There were so many things. The young kids, Bryce, Kyle. There were spurts for everybody to do their magic. I don't want to discredit a lot of what a lot of these players did. But you're not where you are without Wheeler and Nola. That's not unfair to say. So it's on him to dig deep. When has digging deep been the strength of Aaron Nola? The out of the stretch thing is bizarre. How gross the numbers change. How terrible he becomes out of the stretch. Doesn't help with this pitch clock either. That's got to be throwing him in for a loop. But it's not going anywhere. That's the problem for us and for him. Let's go to the phones.
Hey, bros. First of all, love the show, but the way the Phillies bottom of the 10th inning went out today was just absolutely terrible. The way that we keep putting Pache in spots to make a clutch at bat just never end up happening. And Bryson Stott's approach, well, he's been hitting the ball well. Like you can't watch 3 straight fastballs right down the plate with a runner on scoring position and expect to win a game. And it's just terrible how like the little things like that end up costing you a very like winnable series.
Well, I'm not as mad as Stott. Stott showed up today, and Stott's been basically on fire. Not basically, he has been on fire. He's the farthest from my worries on that side of it. But mentioning Rob Thompson, he said something post-game that maybe I'm missing something. I don't know. You all tell me. But he keeps saying that they're getting better and they're doing things well. Like what? What are they doing well? I know his style. His style as a manager is very obvious. I want Rob to be Rob. That's why he worked last year. When being a full-time manager, though, compared to the interim tag and taking over mid-season, there's got to be some tweaks. Maybe this is the growing pains for Rob. Maybe he needs to realize that by this, going through the hard times, realizing that it doesn't work being this soft with it. But you're telling me, you look at these pro baseball players, and you go towards the media, and you go, they're doing things well. They're playing the right way. We're doing things right. What? It's not base running. It's not hitting with runners in scoring position. It's not your bullpen. Your starting pitching hasn't really gone deep. What is it then? I'm lost. And that's his message? And going back to the running the bases thing and the benching thing, this is where it's not adding up for me. One of the times that Brandon Marsh messed up, of the 7,000 running the bases so far this year, he went to the media and said that was on Brandon Marsh. Marsh was the problem there. Marsh didn't pick his head up. Marsh didn't look at Dusty Wathan in time as he was going around third base. So that's an attempt, in my eyes, this is how I read it, of letting the team know we can't keep doing this. You are the problem right now. That's publicly throwing a player under the bus to try and spark a difference. And then the team went out there and made the same mistakes over and over again. It's not working. That was the message. It didn't work. What's this message right here? I'm just confused. This message is we're doing things the right way, but you called out Brandon Marsh earlier and didn't like what he was doing, and then the team continued to do it anyway? As you can see, I'm all over the place. I'm not having fun. I'm not enjoying this. It's aggravating. And I just don't like the way it's trending right now. This was the 6 games to stop the bleeding. That's what I wanted to see when they sucked in New York and they sucked in Texas. Give me something. I wanted 5-1. Really 6-0, but 5-1. And I said, I could live with 4-2. Wouldn't be super proud. Wouldn't be stoked. I could live with 4-2. Realizing that maybe they would establish a better style of play. 3-3? Going to Cincinnati for 4, huh? Now, I forget what's after Cincy off the top of my head here. So, after Cincinnati, you're going to Chicago to play the White Sox, and then you're hosting the Rockies. All right. I don't know what that means. You can't beat Miami. You make it uglier than it needs to be against Cincinnati, even though you did take 2. I'm just beat up. Beat up. 12 games in, by the way. Look at this. Look at this face 12 games in. You think this is what I envisioned? All right. We're shutting it. We're shutting it. Thank you, guys. Talk to you another day. Jesus.